Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite Dark Sorcerer here. And this afternoon, or by now I should say this evening, since it's about 3 minutes before 5 o'clock Eastern Time, I thought it would be a good time to do this video. And it is also a way to honor the dead, the recently departed, such as Brother John Saunders and Brother John Ramsey's, Brother Ramsey's, you know. And the one thing we all had in common was the belief in an actual devil, you know, an actual Satan. And no other interaction, warranted, or I should say, needed to be done. Okay. If you referred to yourself as a Satanist, okay, you believed in an actual devil. Okay, there was no stupidity. Stupidity. There was no in between. Now, most people, when they come into play, they always go by Anton Zanderleve's book. Okay, it's a companion book, Satanic Rituals, Satanic Bible. Okay, now everybody believes that Anton Zanderleve started the first official above ground satanic organization. This was proven about a week or so by me to be fallacy. Okay, but it's not just me though. I may have done a video on it exposing him for the fraud that he was, just like I'm about to do with Peter H. Gilmore in the modern day COS or that of the TST, the Satanic Temple. But there's a difference. There's a huge difference between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan. Okay. And I want to make that quite blatant. There's a huge difference. At least the Satanic Temple is out there trying to get shit done. Okay, to get things recognized. Are they doing it wrong? Yes. Okay. If you're gonna do something for Satanism, you need to do it for all Satanism, not just your specific brand. Okay. And every time I get a email from them, it sounds pretty cool. We are suing such and such a state for such a fucking topic. Guess what? Oh, by the way, because we feel our members' rights are being violated. Our members, not the satanic community, okay? As in the whole. Because you got spiritual Satanism, you got Luciferian Satanism, you've got agnostic Satanism, you have traditional and theistic Satanism. Okay? Now, as I said in the previous video, I don't go by the name Satanist anymore. It's kind of limited and I feel like I've outgrown it. Okay? So I wanted to do this video today in honor of Brother John Saunders and Brother um, John Ramsey's. I know too many Johns. Just saying. You actually have to think about it for a second. But anyways, so why don't we get to the topic here? I'm not going to go into past details. Okay, I've already said I've proven them wrong. Okay, to be fallacies. Others have done the same thing. So I'm not going to get into that. But what I am going to get into is I do agree, and I have agreed fully with John Saunders, my brother. And I'm going to read something to you. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. Okay. wisdom, knowledge. Every dictionary around says that a Satanist worships Satan, worships demons. Under Peter H. Gilmore's rule, we don't believe in an actual devil. No. We believe in psychopump. Peter H. Gilmore said this. Go underneath YouTube, hear it right from the horse's mouth. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires. Responsibility 101. You do something. You take responsibility for your actions. That's what your parents teach you, correct? You fuck up. Guess what? Take responsibility for it. You sit there and lead the public on, putting on that image, you're a big badass Satanist. But yet, hold it, that's only when you're in the ritual room. Yeah, own that shit, Peter H. Gilmore. Own that shit. Okay? Because it means you're not being responsible. No, you're not even replying to people's questions. You're not even replying to people in general. You're hiding behind a label. And your so called followers are doing the exact same thing. You're training a bunch of hypocritical douchebags that get rich and famous and sit on their ass like the one percenters. That's it, nothing more. You don't believe in black magic. You don't believe in an actual Satan. You don't even believe on the devils that you call upon. So why the fuck would you call on them to begin with? Why the hell would you perform rituals in their names? You don't believe? You're nothing more than a fucking atheist. So why don't we look at the definition of an atheist? In fact, hold that thought for just a minute. I'm going to get my dictionary from that bookshelf over there, and I'm going to read you exactly what it says. All right. So this is the college level. Webster's New College Dictionary. Okay. I got this about 10 years ago, give or take. So this one here basically came out. Well, if I can get to the freaking page. Scratch that. That was not 10 years ago. That was all the way back in 2007. So that was my honest mistake. Okay. So right there, responsibility. I said 10 years ago. It was actually more than 10 years ago. Taking responsibility for the things you say and do. Oh, wait. COS doesn't do that. The Church of Satan. Interesting. So I'm going to go to the term atheist. One more page. All right. Atheism. This is on page 89. Okay. Atheism. Number one, the belief there is no God or denial that God or gods exist. Number two, godliness. Now, if you think about this for just a minute, Peter H. Gilmore was renowned for saying, when we say hail Satan, we mean hail ourselves. Okay? All good with that, you know? But you're not going to take on a Satan, Satan's name. You're not going to take on these devils' names. No, you're not them. Okay? Atheist. Number one, a person who believes there is no God. Goes into the sin aspect as well, where it says an atheist rejects all religious belief and denies the existence of God. An agnostic questions that existence of God, heaven, etc., in the absence of material proof and in unwillingness to accept supernatural revelation. Deist, a historical term, was applied to 18th century rationalists who believed in God as a creative, moving force, but who otherwise rejected formal religion and its doctrines of revelation, divine authority, etc. Basically, you're overall free thinker, okay? Which I got no problems with free thinking people. The current parallel term similarly implies rejection of the tenets and traditions of formal religion as incapable with reason. Unbeliever is a more negative term, simply designating without further qualification one who does not accept any religious belief. Right there, keyword, any religious belief. That includes satanic practices and rites. Wow. Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that. No, does not believe in any religious philosophies. Okay? Infidel is applied to a person not believing in a certain religion or the prevailing religion. Antheist. Interesting. Okay? Now let's go forward here. Let's go into the D's and go under devil worship. Right there, devilish. I definitely have a lot of devil in this thing. I'm going to skip that one for just a sec. And we're going to do it this way. I'm not going to sit there and read down through every single one of those. So the definition of a devil worshiper befalls Satanism. Okay. So let's go into this. Little too far. And let's see. And be on this page here. Satanism, satanic. Satanic, characteristic of or like Satan, devilish, infernal, diabolic. Satanism, worship of Satan, the principles and rites of a cult which travesties Christian ceremonies. Well, you consider the Black Mass is a reverse aspect of the Catholic Mass. Catholic, okay? Most of the African Caribbean traditions have hid their saints, their devils, their gods as saints within these traditions. Atheists do not believe in an actual devil. They don't even believe in the magic that they are performing. I just read to you satanic, Satanism, atheist, and atheism. So, how could you, in good conscience, refer to yourself as an atheist Satanist? An atheistic Satanist. So, why don't we go into this a little bit further? Okay. Let's go into. Let me go back here for just a second. I want to go through all this. Oh, come on. My phone's being stupid. All right. I just typed in the 9 satanic sins into my cell phone. Okay. Because I want to go down through these. Now, not now. As soon as it pops up here. Number 1, you have stupidity. Number 2, pretentiousness, solipsism, self deceit, herd conformity, lack of perspective, forgetfulness of past orthodoxies, counterproductive pride, and lack of aesthetics. Aesthetics. Okay? So why don't we get to this? Okay. The COS from Blanche Barton to Peter H. Gilmore have all said when we say hail Satan, we mean hail ourselves, meaning you are your own God, right? Hello, Bog, become a living God, right? Same exact thing. Now, personally, I have nothing, against Bog at all. Yeah, do I find them very highly priced, over priced books? Yeah, their works are way too overpriced for the content that's in them. But that's my personal opinion. But with the Church of Satan, don't you find it interesting that counteractive pride plays a huge issue here? You're so prideful that you don't even have the balls to step out of your fucking shadow and answer public questions. I think the whole time Peter H. Gilmore has been in the head of the COS, I've only seen him talk to reporters once. And that was back when he first took over. I believe it was his first official black mass that he did. You had a bunch of Christians around petitioning, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, and you had all these people dressed in black, showing up in hearses and limos, and all this fun stuff, right? Material bullshit. It's basically the way he put it, even in his own book, the Satanic. Oh, what is it? Satanic Scriptures, if I remember correctly. I've got it sitting over there. He said the same thing Anton Zandaleve said. The black God is you. The black God is you. Basically, let's just dub this down for a minute. What does it mean to put on the bad guy badge? What does it mean to put that bad guy badge on? Well, let's think about this for a minute. By putting that bad guy badge on, you're looking at the church and going, no words needed there. Okay. So here it is. But yet, as soon as they attack or get butthurt over what Peter H. Gilmore does, it's wait, don't hate me. I'm not here's a little secret. We don't actually worship the devil. We take pride in ourselves. We work on ourselves. That's stupidity. Self-deceit. Herd conformity because you're leading others into the same descent. And you're forgetting about past orthodoxies of organizations of Satanism and devil worship that pre-existed long before Anton came around, going as far back as the 18th century. Yeah, and yet you can't even bring yourself to admit that you are wrong. You hide in the fucking shadows. Yeah, that's counterproductive pride right there, people. Hmm. They're all right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right underneath the Church of Satan's website. Yep, you should see how many people are down here. Bill M, solipsist alert. Sure do sin a lot, but I'm working on myself. Jeff tries the best. Mel about to retire. Is that a sin? I don't know. Depends on how old you are. They say the golden years is 60 plus, so I don't see much golden years there. You're thinking your youth, yeah, that's a whole nother story. A whole bunch of photos here. Brain Act Normal Challenge by Jared Gonya. Halloween, Halloween, a bunch of witch. I mean, look at this. I don't know if you could see that, but just about every post underneath the Church of Satan is a bunch of guys. And or Anton Zandaleve. Okay? Last time I knew, he's been dead since 97. So he definitely didn't post on the 11th. Okay, 11 hours ago, or 17 hours ago, 5 hours ago. Hmm. Fired Nagy 3 hours ago. When was asked, what's the impact of Nagy being away? Fields responded with not much difference. That's an honest answer. With Alyssa Barbary and Eric Lambert won. That's their entire that is their entire website right there. So I mean, when you go underneath their website, let's just for the hell of it, let's get underneath their website for just a minute. I mean, when's the last time you've actually updated your website? I mean, seriously. Founded by Anton Zanderleve in 1966. We defined Satanism. We defined Satanism. Bullshit. Ever hear of Herbert Sloan? 1927 to 1960. Booyah, out of Ohio. You just got anally invaded. Fuck you, Peter H. Gilmore and Anton Zanderleve. So yeah, just about everything on. So get this. Please read our FAQ before asking questions with the symbol of Leviathan. Now, what is the symbol of Leviathan? Well, let me break it down to you. It's actually two symbols, two distinct different symbols of alchemy put into one. The double armed cross and the infinity symbol. Okay? But this is what I get a kick out of right here. We mute morons, lunatics, and trolls. Really? Nobody's heard a fucking thing from you morons for let's see, the last time I heard anything from the Church of Satan was after I called out one of your imperators for being stupid and nailed him with all kinds of the sins, the nine satanic sins. He violated literally 6 of the 9 sins, and I called his ass out on it. You know what happened? They didn't silence. No, they just block and run. Okay, so let's get into this for just a minute. All right, the 9 satanic statements. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as it is he who has kept it in business all these years. Okay, I'll give you that one. That's actually true because over the last 1,000 years, they have been really hard up for Satan. Mhm. Let's go to the book of Satan for an example. Okay, get under here. Don't want to start off in the book of Lucifer. All right, the book of Satan. Number one book, right there, the first book. All right. So let's see. Nothing there on Satan. Nothing there on Satan. But I do like this book because of the fact that there's a lot of wisdom here. And I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Gabriel Fisher. That they are. That's the main thing that they are. That's basically all they are is political. They're always suing over this, that, and whatever. I believe the last time they sued, when they first started doing things, when they came out of nowhere and set up their organization, they sued the states for how should I say this? First Amendment violations. That's the best way I'm going to put it to you. Now, when we look at a protected religion, according to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, three things make up a protected religion. This is what was governed as identifying markers: having an establishment, a coven, a church, a temple. Okay, you get the gist there. Number two, having doctrine, scripture. Okay, having some form of grimoire. Most covens go with a grimoire, a black book or a journal. Okay, something that only their covens go by, like pagans and Wiccans. Now, what's interesting is when you get into occultism or Satanism, you also have what is known as a black book. This is the main black book to a coven, a temple, or a church. The grimoires are copies of that black book. And then you have the individual practitioners' personal journals that make up their personal journey, discoveries, and enlightenment moments throughout their career as practitioners. Okay. Now, they basically, and the third was having a following. Okay. So that's basically the three main things that make up a protected religion. This is what the identifying statutes were that make up a protected religion. So they came out and they started suing people because they were putting the Ten Commandments in government buildings. They near government, like state parks, and you know, using the Ten Commandments to swear somebody into office. All of this bullshit. Okay. Now the TST went from there to suing Sabrina the teen. Was it not Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but oh fuck, what the hell's the name of that show? Sabrina the oh, what the fuck? I'm gonna have to get on Netflix now and actually look that up. Yep, that one slipped my mind. I want to say it's the New Adventures of Sabrina, something like that. So let me see. Ah, right there. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Okay. They started suing them over their representation of Baphomet. Basically the statue. Okay. So they went from there into this whole abortion thing that they've been on over the last, what, 2 years? It's been like 2 years now, 3 years that they've been on this whole reproductive rights thing. And when in reality, they're only doing it for their own members, no one else, no other satanic organization, just them. And it's interesting to see this because of the fact that groups like this don't last long. I give them a max of 10 years, if that. Okay. Before they just done, gone, go poof in the night, whatever you want to call it. They've already expended their non funding aspects of their religious foundation. Okay. And begged for funds because they spread themselves so thin that they basically ass raped themselves. Okay. Financially. And yes, I just went there. I've had friends people who I don't really associate with much, they've all come to me and said, "Hey, I've tried to get in contact with Lucian Graves. I've tried to do this. I've tried to do that. I've reached out to the local branch." And they basically said, "Fuck you. Your agenda and ours are two different things. We're not going to lift a finger to help you." And this was one of which was a family that was being targeted through what is known as double jeopardy. Okay? Double jeopardy. One of the family members had been convicted of something years ago, like I think it was like 20, 25 years ago. And you had a state organized group that came in and was hounding them for over 2 years, about 2 years, threatening to take their kids away, the whole kit and caboodle. They even brought the law into their home. These people came to me. I enlightened them on the United States constitutional rights, basically meaning a police officer that enters your home has to officially state that he has been asked to join that agent in coming here into your home. If they did not do that, it's null and void. It basically toss it out the fucking window because it means shit. It's like the toilet paper that you wipe your ass with. Second of all, by what they told me, you have bullying, harassment, criminal threatening, perjury, and a few other federal and local crimes, state crimes that they committed. Okay, including their personal rights to remain silent. So the fact that the TST wouldn't even lift a finger when they claim they're fighting for the rights of Satanists, no. If you're not a part of their agenda, you're basically screwed. Okay, it's the same thing with this with their COS, the Church of Satan. Okay, it's not just about playing the role of the bad guy, going by the name Satanist and claiming to be a part of Satanism, but yet you don't believe in Satan. You don't even believe in black magic. Okay, so your statement, Gabriel, is right on. That's all they are. That is all they are, is political activists. It's like these feminists that are going out of their way to sue men for this, that, and whatever because they believe that their rights are violated. Okay. Now, as I was saying, you have the 9 satanic sins within here. So I'm going to go to, let's go to the satanic rituals. Okay. And this is in the book of I want to say this is in the book of Lucifer. All right, this is page 114. This is where they begin to talk about the 3 types of rituals. Okay, concerning the sex or lust. Okay, you have a number of different things. We basically it's called the lust rituals. You have compassion rituals, and then you have destruction rituals. So let's talk about this for just a minute. Okay, I'm gonna get in here to this where it's actually written here. Give me just a sec. I'm gonna bring it up here. Because you have to go into the next. All right, here we go. I believe it's underneath this one here. It's after all the rituals and rites. So let's go. All right. We're going to skip that and go right to the invocation to Satan. This is the main one right here. In nomine di nostri Satanas Luciferi excelsi. In the name of Satan. Okay? In the name of Satan, meaning you're calling on an actual entity. the ruler of the earth, the king of the world. And this actually aligns with the King James, the New King James Bible, and the Christian Bible in general in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Okay? They used a little g there, so pay attention to that. I command the forces of darkness to bestow their infernal power upon me. I command. This is basically the grimoire system that was corrupted by the JCI, the Judo Christian institutions. And you're saying you're not playing the bad guy, reverse Christianity? That is bullshit. That is a fucking lie. Okay? So again, you are deceiving yourselves. Okay? You are deceiving yourselves because you are playing the bad guy to the church. Okay? Because basically, when you get into the grimoire systems or you get into the Kabbalah, you have superior angels that are like, how should I say this? Let's take the book of Tobit for an example. Everybody knows that Asmodeus is a demon. He's a demonic king, right? The Goetia, the lesser key of Solomon, Solomantic magic. Okay? So, here it is. I want you to pay attention here. Even in the Grand Grimoire or the Grand Grimoire Red Dragon, you get into the Constitution of Pope Honorius, even. Okay? The Clavicle of Solomon. You call upon Lucifer's Raphael with a rod of damnation. Okay? With a rod of damnation. Enslaving that spirit and threatening it with torture and eternal damnation. Isn't that ironic? Because a lot of these old grimoires, such as the Book of Tobit, you'd call on an angel of God, meaning Jehovah, Yeshua, Allah, whatever, to call upon an angel like, say, Michael, Uriel, whatever. Okay, even Raphael. In this case, I believe it, if I remember correctly, it was Raphael that they called on because Asmodeus was, well, let's just say he had the hots for this human girl. Okay, and so much so that he literally killed off 7 or 8 of the. I want to say it was like 7 of the 8 brothers, and the last brother ended up going along the road, and he befriended an angel who told him how to defeat Asmodeus. Okay, you go into the grimoire known as the threefold coercion of hell, also known as the grimoire of Faustus. Okay, the Black Raven. You have a superior angel who resides over the demon. Okay, and to force that demon into submission, you would call on this superior angel. That would be like that would be like your boss going to your mother to put you in your place. Or let's say, for an example, we all have had those grandmothers, you know what I'm talking about, that if you mouth off would come down in a nightgown, curlers in the hair, and you just stop dead in your tracks, like, ah, shit, I stepped into it now. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about here. Okay, you have that superior mind where you think you are so goddamn superior that you can force a demon to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I would love to see you be in front of an actual demon, and as you're trying to wave that fucking rod of power in that demon's face, I'm gonna laugh my ass off when he bends you over with his 9-foot rod and starts ramming it up your ass. I will laugh my ass off at that. Okay. So let's read some more here. Open wide the gates of hell and come forth from the abyss to greet me as your brother, sister, and friend. Okay. Well, let's see. The gates, the which gates are they referring to here? Okay. They mentioned the abyss. Now, are we referring to Jahannam, Sheol, hell, as in Hell, or the Christian hell, He double hockey sticks? You know what I'm saying? So, going from there, you just literally committed self deceit. How should I say this? You just committed what is known as hypocrisy, a state of duality. Not mention you just violated your number one cardinal sin of stupidity. Okay? Think about this for just a minute. You just threatened a demon, in this case, a fallen angel, a Grigori, first class angelic being who, according to the poetical text, was put in place, who basically replaced Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies, the Lord of the Witches' Sabbath, and put this Grigori, known as Satan, the chief Grigori, on the throne of hell, while Jesus Christ was in the underworld for 3 fucking days. You just threatened this being, and now you're turning around and kissing his ass? Anybody else see the stupidity here? Number one, why would this being help you now? Number two, why would you be running to church for protection? Okay. I'm just saying that. Okay. Every grimoire that Anton Zandaleve stole his shit from was corrupted by JCI, that's Judo Christian Institutions propaganda. You literally are playing reverse Christianity here. Satanism has nothing to do with Christianity. But hey, that's atheistic Satanist for you, right? So let's finish this. I have taken thy name as part of myself. I have taken thy name. Now he's speaking like a Christian. Now he's speaking like a Christian. Every other word in the Bible, THY, thy. Wow. Okay. I have taken thy name as part of myself. I live as the beasts of the field, rejoicing in the fleshly life. I favor the just and curse the rotten. Does that mean yourself? I'm just saying. Because you're trying to live the best of both worlds. And you cannot have one foot in the grave and one foot in the world. You cannot be with the dead. Have you learned nothing from history? I mean, look at necromancy for an example. Nigromancy, the art of black magic. Let's go back into necromancy, the art of corpse divination, according to the Greek mythology. If you go into India, you go into Asia or Europe, for example, in the old world, anyone, it was forbidden to touch a corpse. It was forbidden to even touch somebody that was dying because it would mean that you would die too. So a necromancer considered themselves to be dead already. Okay? It would be like those who pick up garbage for a living. Okay? They're considered contaminated and are considered outcasts, heathens of the world. Hell, those who fight wars come back to fight another war, dealing with their own country. Why? Because of what they've done, their actions. The Judo Christian institutions, if you go into much of their old rites, you would know this. Hell, if you go into the Shem priesthood out of Giza, okay, out of Egypt, you look at their rites, they had different levels of priesthoods. They had different levels of duties. One group of priests were responsible for maintaining the church. You had another one that was responsible to deal with the public. You had those responsible for worshiping 24/7. And then you had those who were responsible to do autopsies. Autopsies. And these priests were literally run out of town on more than one occasion because they touched a corpse. In fact, they removed the four main organs. Now, ironically, the brain is not one of them. I'm just saying. You'd think it was, but in Egyptian, no. They also performed the rites of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the spells, the rituals, black magic, sorcery. There's a reason why Egypt was known as the land of sorcerers. Okay? I want you to think about this for just a minute. So, you rejoice in the fleshly life, you favor the just and curse the rotten. By all the gods of the pit, I command that these things of which I speak shall come to pass. Now you're back to threatening. I command. You're barking orders to a spirit that's been around for hundreds of thousands of years? And you think that spirit is going to do it for you? No. Come forth and answer to your names by manifesting my desires. Oh, hear thy names. Hear the names. Okay, and then it goes into roughly about a page of names of the devils worldwide. Okay, why don't we go over to the book of Leviathan? Let's go to the Enochian Keys. Hmm, you felt the need to put it in there and keep it in there all these years. So here it is. You can go to any one of these except for the last one, which is, I believe, 19, if I remember correctly. So let's see. A little too far here. All right. Let's go to the first Enochian key. We're going to go down to the last paragraph. Move therefore and appear. Open the mysteries of your creation. Okay, right here, you're literally acknowledging an actual Satan here, the creator of the underworld, the ruler of the underworld, his creations. I mean, the Christians already acknowledge him as the God of this world, a God of this world, meaning he's already created this world. So now you're acknowledging an actual entity, just like Christianity does. Okay? Move and therefore and appear. Open the mysteries of your creation. Now remember this part. Remember, be friendly unto me, for I am one, I am the same. The true worshiper, the true worshiper. Get it? The word, key word right there. Worshiper of the highest and infallible king of hell. Again, referencing Satan as an actual being. So, first you threaten him, then you petition him, then you threaten him again, and now you're asking for him to play nice with somebody who's already threatened him on more than one occasion. You have violated your own cardinal sins. You have violated, and you don't even get on the web and admit to it. No, you hide behind that seal. You hide behind the atheistic mask. Don't hate me. I'm not an actual devil worshiper. I just role play like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Wow. Interesting how that works, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, let's talk about the TST, the Satanic Temple. I've already said their biggest things earlier, but have you actually gotten into their books? Don't get me wrong. I've actually found I've actually found their books to be full of gnosis. I have. Now, unlike the COS, the Satanic Temple is one of those groups that is made up of more than one style of Satanist. You have Luciferianism mixed up with atheistic. If you go into what was it? I want to say it was Ohio. I think it was Cleveland, Ohio. When they first came out, they were trying to put a statue there, and it was halted by Christians. Before that, they ended up trying to put a Baphomet statue next to the Ten Commandments. What the fuck were you thinking? I don't know what Lucian Graves was thinking here. Because of the fact that there's a reason why there are zoning regions. Okay, these are known as zoning rights. Okay, places of worship that can be done. If you look, if you go down to your city hall, you go to the building location. Each section has different names, so I mean, you got to figure it out when you get there. I mean, if you go, it's like if you go to DHS in the Northeast, it's called Department of Human Services. Now, if you go to them in the Southwest, they're known as the Department of Ecological Affairs. So you got two different names, but the same building, and same type of people. Okay, it's the same thing with the city halls. So when you go into these places, you want to find out where the land use is, especially for future land use. So you get there, they give you paperwork. And when you're going through this paperwork, you will notice that you have residentials, you have the churches, the Christian churches. And then you have other regions where you can place your own churches, that you can place your own religious headquarters or whatever you want to call it. Okay. And these are called zoning affairs. Zoning affairs is where you, as a priest or priestess, be it magistrate, magus, um, imperator, whatever, okay, can go in and say, okay, I've located a building at this address in this particular city. Okay. Now I'm looking at the paperwork. This is in, let's call it, let's go with, I'm just going to throw out a color here. Let's go with the green. Okay. Green is go. Everybody knows that green is go. So why is it that some morons sit there through a green light? This is Lucian Graves for you. Okay. What did you think was going to happen by putting a Baphomet statue directly next to the Ten Commandments? Of course, it was going to be this big upheaval. So, what's he do? You go into this other state. Bam. You try it in a warehouse. A warehouse in the neighborhood of Christians. Oh my fucking god. Even you did not learn your history. But then again, you did put satanic temples in the Bible Belt. I gotta give you that one. That was ballsy. But then again, Christians tend to run and flee when they've been proven wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm aware of Lucian Graves' reputation. I got a lot of respect for the man. Just not some of the decisions he's made over the last couple of years. But here, his books show a unique setup when it comes to structural hierarchies, how they got started, the different divisions. It kind of reminded me of Cardassia from DS9, okay? Or Star Trek The Next Generation. If you watch the ones where the Federation are associating them with, with the Cardassians, you'll understand what I mean. You have the main military, the command structure, but then you have what is known as the Ascidian Order. And when I'm reading down through this book of discipleship and all this stuff, it was interesting to see. It reminded me just like that. And this is why. You have your neophyte or acolyte, that's the beginner. You have trials and stuff, which basically is traditional Satanist, if you follow the order of the nine angles. You have the different robes and the different prayers. You have the different titles that are bestowed. But wait for it, you have this one small group that's able to go come from nowhere and go between every temple. And it's a priesthood, a special clandestine priesthood. Why? Because it was set up that way. Unlike the COS, who has, as far as I can tell, at least three branches to themselves: San Francisco, New York, and I want to say it was over in Europe, one in Europe somewhere. I can't remember where off the top of my head. But they have three branches. How many branches does the TST have now? Florida, they have chapters, is what they refer to them as. Chapters. Oklahoma, Ohio, Massachusetts, Florida. I believe there's one in Texas. So you see, each one is different. But I liked how they had that set up. I liked how Lucian Gray set that up, in those books. It was a unique perspective of a satanic hierarchy, chain of command. Reminded me of demonolatry. And this is why. Number one, you have Lucifer, the Emperor, Beelzebub, second in command, Lord of Flies, the founder of the Order of Flies, bestower of the Medal of the Fly. You have Asmodeus, or Asmodai, you know, who comes in later, but Astaroth was the third. Astaroth, the teacher of witchcraft, basically the sorcerer or sorceress, depending how you look at the sexual orientation of her. Especially through historical accounts, because her name goes all the way back to Astarte. So here it is. In the Clavicle of Solomon, depending on which version you're looking at, if you get into Peterson's work, I believe it was the Book of True Black Magic and the Grimorium Vernum. You have Astaroth that was mentioned. But yet, in the Secrets of Solomon, Astaroth was replaced by Alistar, the Executioner. You see, you have to pay attention to these things. So, going through Lucian Graves' books, the Satanic Temples books, they have two of them out that I know of. Question is, which one do you actually go by? They call on the demons just like everybody else. But 9 times out of 10, they're going with the ones that are out of the JCI Bible. Reverse Christianity yet again. But like I said, there is a difference between the TST and the COS. At least the TST gives its members the right to discern for themselves if these spirits are real or they want to be atheists. That is the difference between the COS and the Satanic Temple. Plain and simple. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of Lucian Graves or the Satanic Temple. In fact, I got a distaste for him. Disdain. Nothing but disdain. Plain and simple. I don't like them. I find them to be hypocritical self-deceivers. They're more interested in political aspects for their members only. And yet they preach, we're doing this for the satanic community. Really? On one hand, you're saying you're doing this for the satanic community, but yet on the other hand, in your newsletters, we feel that our members' rights are being violated. Wow. Self-deceit, duality, conflict of interest. How's that for legal propaganda? The COS and the TSD, same exact thing. Not doing anything for the satanic community. But at least Lucian Graves has the balls and the tenacity to do interviews. He tends to stand up along with his followers and do what's necessary. Peter Edge Gilmore and his little band of lackeys, not so much. In fact, you don't hear a fucking word from them. In fact, did you notice we're in the middle of the witches' Sabbath? Started yesterday, the 26th, and goes until the 6th of November. Where's the announcement of their Black Mass? Where's the announcement of their Black Mass? Huh. Are they even doing it? They didn't do it last year. Are they doing it this year? Nope. No word. As far as I know, even the Satanic Temple's not doing a Black Mass. But you know what's funny? I had a Luciferian Satanist on his own podcast look at me and said he would love to do a Black Mass, but he's never done one before. He knows that I have. So tonight, 10 p.m. on Shadow Zone. This is on Facebook, so you can get on there. I reactivated my Facebook account specifically for this. It's called Shadow Zone, and it's run by Joan Goma. Okay, that's his little. That's his baby. That's his little legacy that he's doing. So he's invited me on to do this, and he's actually announced it. This will be the third time that I've been invited onto his podcast. And what's interesting is we're going to be doing a mini version of the Black Mass in honor of the dead, the ancestors, and most importantly, in honor of Satanas and the demons. Aleister Crowley was an occultist, not a Satanist. So you shouldn't even be putting his name along with this podcast. But it's all right, you didn't know the difference. The Keys of Solomon, the Lesser Key of Solomon, is basically planetary and ritual type stuff that deal with the 72 Goetic spirits. But if you actually do your homework on the 72 Goetic spirits, you'll notice that they're also associated with the jinn out of Islamic tradition. 72 jinn. Okay. It's okay, Gabriel. Like I said, you're new to the field. You don't know much. This is how you learn. You ask questions. So they're actually traced all the way back into Middle Eastern traditions. So again, a system corrupted by JCI. Now, Solomon, if you follow the myths and the legends of biblical accounts, was the son of King David. King David took over for Saul, King Saul, who committed suicide basically after his sons were butchered against the Philistines. Okay. Now, what's interesting is it was King Saul who went to a necromancer and blood sorceress. Interesting how that goes. You claim to be a Christian, you claim to be of God, and again, you violate the Ten Commandments and identify with a witch or a warlock. In this case, a witch. Just saying. Again, you're seeing that corruption and duality. But still, the Goetia is actually pretty good working with demons. I've worked with a lot of, a select few of demons, and I do work with the Nine Kings. I can tell you that they are some of the best friends that you can work with, you can have a relationship with. Now, I haven't worked with all of the ones from the Goetia, just a select few. Murmur, Bilfrun, the Nine Kings, Astaroth. In fact, let me just, if I can get this thing unbuttoned here. My patroness is Astaroth. Okay. I would definitely recommend taking your time doing your research, Gabriel, in this field. There's a lot of different systems out there of demonolatry. When you get into, say, for an example, the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage, you're going to have a whole nother view of demonolatry and the hierarchy. You go into Edward Arthur White's work, and you're going to see a whole nother set of names. You go into the Black Raven, also known as the Threefold Coercion of Hell by Dr. Faustus, who created the Faustspark, a German practitioner. You're going to notice that there's a whole nother thing of what he classifies as angelic or celestial angelics, meaning those that work for Jehovah and Yahweh and all that. And then he goes right into the demonic aspects. Okay, you have the Grimoire of Armadale, same thing as Dr. Faust's version. You get into the Red Book of Appin, and you're going to see how Samiel, Lilith, Nibiris, and Astaroth are the four hierarchies, unlike Satan, Lucifer, Belial, and Leviathan of the COS. But yet the prayer goes into calling on Beelzebub and Marduk as well. Okay, you go into the three books of Enoch, and you're going to see Azazel. Okay, Azazel is the alchemist. He is the teacher of swords and warfare. Okay, shields. He teaches women to paint their faces, and he teaches them the art of seduction. Okay. You go into the scroll of Amrin, and you have Belial, the leader of the sons and daughters of darkness, versus Michael, the leader of sons and daughters of light. Go into the, let's say, for example, you go into Zoroastrianism and you got Ahura Mazda versus Orion. Okay. Same exact thing, a whole nother system of deities. So you really want to delve into demonolatry and trace their roots back. The nine kings resemble the nine gods of Aztec, okay, culture, but also that of you got the 72 goetic demons who, depending on which variation you're going by, because you have Mather's edition, Dr. Rudd, the lesser keys of Solomon, you know. So I mean, there's a lot of different views of that. And then you got Michael W. Ford's, which I believe is the most recent classification just based off that. When you get into, let's go with, oh, what the hell's the name of that author there? Reverend Cain. There we go. Reverend Cain actually wrote three books: the Book of Hymns, the Satanic Bible, and then you have the Book of Kings. Now, the Book of Kings was actually a book written about the nine Goetic kings. The great, the nine kings of the Goetia. Okay, that's some of the ones that he only worked with. However, a lot don't realize that he actually worked with several others too. So I would say Reverend Cain, Alistair Knott, and the Order of the Nine Angles. I would go with, I know a lot of people don't like the Joy of Satan because of they use certain, things that were associated with Adolf Hitler, so therefore they classify them as an organization of neo-Nazis, fascists. S. Connolly's actually pretty good. I actually like her works, and I'm friends with her on social media. I've had a few good conversations with her, and she's enlightened me on a lot of different things. Well, I'm out of coffee. I have to go make up more. Oh well. It's okay, I got a water bottle. Always come prepared. If you get the complete book of demonology by her, I would also go with the complete book of daemonology. That's something that will enlighten you a lot more. Okay? Both are good books and will enlighten you, Gabriel. In fact, S. Connolly is a demonolator. Okay? She's one of the top ones that I know outside of Michelle Belanger. Belanger, was it? How do you pronounce that? Belanger. Yeah, that's the one. Belanger. Okay. Dictionary of Demons. Okay, by Michelle Belanger. Okay. Now, if you really want to get into another great book, I would go into the Encyclopedia of Demons and Demonology by Rosemary Ann Dully. Okay. And you will get into a lot more demons between those two, not just the ones that S. Connolly puts forth. Because you got to remember that she only puts a select few in. And it's interesting because of the fact that when you get into the old folklores, you're going to be leaving things like demons behind, the name demons behind, and going into the old folklores. You look at the Fae, you look at the Sadi. I actually did a video once on the Sadi because this is the Scottish name for them. But when you get into the Irish, they're known as the Sith, Sith. And a lot of people poked fun at that because they think it's associated with Star Wars. Wrong species, bub. That's all I got to say there. Wrong species. So you get into the zombie, the hellhound, the vampire. You get into the reavers and the revenants, the banshees, the screaming lady, you know, the elven, and you get into these old folklore traditions of Europe and Middle Eastern. You're gonna see that a lot of those so-called demons were taken from older civilizations, such as the Chaldeans, who later became known as the Canaanites. Today, it's their capital is literally modern day Beirut. And what's interesting there is it sits on a major ley line that goes all the way from Beirut through Stonehenge in England and ends right here in the United States of America in Salem, New Hampshire. So, again, know your shit, okay? If you're going to preach on something, you're going to talk on something, back it up. I've always said this. Whatever you preach, back it up, okay? And always make yourselves available to the public because you are the ones that answer to the public for your words and deeds. Plain and simple. Okay? And these two rules were given to me by the Satanic Brotherhood out of New York back when I started my own organization, the Order of the Black Thorn. Okay? So, and it's something that I've held on to for 10 years. I actually shut that organization down because I got bored running it. When you're following the Order of the Nine Angles, test and everything, one of the mandates is that when you're running an organization, you got to run it for at least a year. Hell, I ran it from 2013 to 2020 before I closed it down. And I did that by myself while working full-time jobs. So there. Uh, King Anu, Middle Eastern deity, Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian. So Zoroastrian, actually, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so anyways, get in on that stuff. And before you choose to follow the herd conformity, do your fucking homework. More spam. Yep, scam is likely is what it normally comes up under, which is hilarious. In this case, I have no idea who that number is. Most likely, it's I get numbers all the time, and this is what's funny. When you get a phone call, you normally know who's calling because they're programmed into your phone, right? Well, what about those ones that are not? Okay. These people, computers are supposed to interlock people, right? Well, explain this. I get phone calls from people talking about student loans. I'm not in college, so why would I be collecting student loans? I've already got car insurance, so why would I give two shits about your car insurance? And then you got government agencies that call in from time to time. And it's like, some of them ask for advice from me. Others, well, let's just say it's funny as all hell because let's say for an example you got Social Security. If you live in the United States, you've got a Social Security number. Okay, so number one, the thing you have to realize is that a scam is a scam. Okay, they don't call out unless you have an appointment with them. Okay, if you have an appointment with them, expect that phone call. But they don't call out for shits and giggles outside of that. And they definitely do not outsource to other agencies. Like, say, these little guillotine type stuff, like, oh, SSI, asked us to reach out about the work programs. I'm not on SSI. Why would I give two shits about your work programs? Just saying. It's the same thing with the COS and the TST. They're saying one thing, doing another. They've got you distracted way over here, and you're not seeing the hand that's way over here. That's why it's good to know your shit. Know your craft. The witch's creed, the witch's pyramid, the witch's oath. To know, to dare, to will, to keep silent, and to go forth. To know is the number one thing. Know thyself, know thy craft. So why is it so many people are going with the herd conformity instead of learning? Figure that one out. I would not trust the COS, and I would definitely not trust the TST. But what I can tell you is the joy of Satan, they deal with a lot of different aspects. They even deal with the swastika, which has gone by so many different names over the centuries. So many names. It it's baffling. But yet, modern day, all people see is Adolf Hitler. Why? The little bands on their arms. You see, a lot of people, they don't know the meaning of the swastika. Excuse me. Uh, they don't know the meaning of the swastika. You see, the swastika was a symbol of transformation. It's like the alchemical transmutation symbol that Wiccans and pagans go with. But if you get back into alchemy and you get into some of these other cultures like Middle Eastern, you're going to see where this one symbol represented a cross. Look at the Wanton's cross for an example. Okay, but I can tell you this: it had so many different names. I think I counted what was it, 14 different names, going as far back as the 15th century. So get your head out of your ass. It's not a symbol of hate. Do your own research. So, but I wanted to come under here and tell you a little bit about why people like this Church of Satan and the TST violate their own oaths, their own sins. It's because they're just like Christians. They'd rather play the bad guy badge. They would rather play the bad guy role than to actually delve into the practices. And yes, they do, Pharaoh. They do indeed have that symbol. So I want to thank. Let me get under here. All right. I may butcher your name, so I do apologize in advance. I'm just looking over here. Otanai Journey. Well, thank you on that. He says it's people like you that should really lead some of these groups because you actually know what the fuck you're doing. That's actually true. But to be fair, I have no interest in leading an organization. I did that for almost 10 years and it's kind of boring after a while. It's more if you're making it into a business profit, perspective, then maybe keeping it around. But especially once you get into making candles and you start making amulets and clothing lines and stuff like that. But you look at how many people have already started doing this. I mean, you got Luciferian Apotheca. You have um, How to Become a Living God. You have, the COS. You have various different organizations worldwide that is actually doing this stuff from various different occult or religious perspectives. It's been done to death. Let's see. Selling your soul, end of every statement of the Bible. To be fair, nowhere in the Bible does it say to sell your soul to Satan. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that Satan wants your soul. In fact, nowhere in the Bible does it say that Satan is the enemy of God. Okay? Just putting that in perspective for you. The first mention of Satan was in Job. This is a physical entity. And in chapter 1, it was Satan that walked into God's kingdom and said, "Hey, your people aren't living right." This is the Hebrew variation. This is where he basically becomes the adversary, or within the form of an accuser. And it was God that sent him after Job. He said, "You can do whatever you want to him, just don't kill him." Nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in the book of Job does it say that he kills Job, even though Job is dead by the end of the book of Job. Just saying. So then we go into the tempter aspect, which is Jewish. Okay, the Jewish custom. And this comes in the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 4, 7, and 10, out of the book, chapter 4 of the book of Matthews. Okay. And here we see where he's tempting the man, Jesus Christ. And the thing is what's funny is Christians will sit there and say, well, he tempted my God. He wasn't a God at that point. He was a fucking man. Plain and simple. And on top of that, he was a wizard, a necromancer, and a practicing warlock. Read what he does in there. I mean, number one, he's an exorcist. Okay, he performed the rites of exorcism. The deaf and mute man had legion in him. What did he do? The demons recognized him and say, "Hey, let us go into the swine." Right? That's the rite of exorcism. Okay. Second of all, he brought two people back from the dead. The centurion's daughter and Lazarus. He brought back from the pit. Wow, necromancy right there. He was an alchemist. Took saliva and mud, rubbed into the man's eyes, and oh my God, he can see. Alchemy. He calmed the weather. Witchcraft. Elemental witchcraft. As they were going across the Jordan. Anybody else not see the practitioner aspect? Just saying. So, yeah, nowhere in the Bible does it say he's the enemy of God. In fact, the only place it names God by name throughout the entire Bible is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, where they use a little g. Satan is the God of this world. Okay? Kelly Jocelyn, welcome to the channel. Let's see. If you actually look at how they constructed the Temple of Solomon, you'll notice the geometric shape was actually a dome. And at the time period, you're looking at the second, maybe third dynasty period of that time, where they're actually getting to architecture. They get into artwork. The second dynasty of the Israelites was actually based off art. This is where they subscribed to most of things on jugs and burial urns, and cave paintings, like stuff like that. The third dynasty is where they started art, actually developing the buildings in the cities and the communities, not just the walls for fortification and protection. Okay. Lost Book of Inky. Never read it. Let's see. Kishan 86. Oh, I don't know if you'd be up for that though. I mean, I do consider him a brother and friend. I I love that man's work. His rituals, spectacular. I love it. I'm very, very envious of his altar room. His altar setups. Very envious. I don't He puts a lot of time and effort into those, and it's amazing. I got a lot of respect for Behemoth X. But I wouldn't but if he's up for it, I mean I have no issues with it. But That sounds like the clan. All right, question 86. What do you think about Egyptian gods? Well, I actually work with Anubis, and I work with a couple others. Thoth, for one, the magician. Bastet, the goddess of cats, and I work with Isis. Isis is the goddess of witchcraft. She is the mother, and in my experience, she is quite powerful. Bastet would be considered the ruler of the underworld, or at least the guardian thereof. I do work with them quite well, and I do enjoy them. I like their energies and the currents. I even work with Osiris, the Lord of Iniquity. Okay, he's the one with the weight, the gold and the feather. So I do recommend them to you if that's the path you want to get into, Keshin 86. Now I've heard of I've actually read and heard of the 13 bloodlines of satanic families. Not sure if that's true or not. I have, like I said, I have read about them. I have studied that aspect, and it is very enlightening to say the least. Illuminating would be the better term. I concur with that, Pharaoh Stiller X. It's all good, my friend. It's all good. So yeah. All right. So I'm actually caught up on who's up here and who's commented and everything. So yeah. So anyways, I said my piece. I know y'all have asked questions and put up some statements here. Gabriel Fisher, I'd like to see more of you on this channel. Maybe we can guide you into your path. I don't know if you've actually found your path that you're looking to get into or not, but if you want, hit me up and we'll discuss that and see what we can do to further your career and your interests in demonolatry, or even, say, for an example, Satanism, witchcraft, necromancy, whatever path it is that you're into. So hit me up on Messenger. That's the best way that you can actually get in contact with me, because I actually look at my Messenger more than anything else. So, like I said, I am going to be deleting my Facebook account. I reactivated it earlier yesterday, matter of fact, in anticipation for tonight, because like I said, I'm going to be doing a black mass with Joan Goma, who runs the Shadow Zone podcasts on Facebook. So, and that's going to be around, if you're in the Eastern time zone, that's 10 o'clock or therefore around. If you're into like the middle United States, region, Central America, you know what I'm saying? That's 9 o'clock p.m. Okay. They're actually about an hour behind where I am. So, and he's literally about an hour behind me. So, okay. I would look into Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus. The word that I would like you to get under is, if you go underneath Amazon, look up Tentatio Diabolus. Okay, this is a 3 book. It's in one book, and it's called The Devil's Bible. This is basically for beginners. That deals with Lucifer and Satan and satanic magic, specifically that of initiation rites. This is more of a solitary annotation rite. It takes place over a three-time period, but he puts forth his own unique perspectives. Very low key, very easy to understand, and he actually goes from having the Bible with his principles into what is known as the devil's disciples. The devil's disciples is more or less for those of you who wish to have your own coven, your own temple, or whatever. And he literally teaches you the structure and their mandates on how to do it, not just calling on the demons and devils. And he does it more in a respectful manner, which is why I recommend it. And then he has the third book, which is called the Devil's Coven. This is more. Think of this one more as pointers, if you will. Very good pointers. Very good outlook on it. Now, outside of that, I would recommend Vocacolacus Aureax to you. The the book of the black. Was it the black? The book of the Black Flame of Satan. There we go. The book of the Divine Black Flame of Satan. That's the name of the book, and it's by Vocacolacus Aureax. Okay, very very good book. It is a vampiric outlook on Satanism. The principles within it and the views are highly thought provocative. It is straightforward and low key, so it's not overly thought out. It is not overly intellectualized. It is not. He tends to stretch it out a little bit, but it's there. Now, if the path of Satanism is more your style, I would recommend a book by Brother Nero, and it's called Satanism: The Beginning. It's a purple book, and it's very, very good. It's basically written with for those of you who aren't good with confrontation. Okay, think of it as raising a family as a Satanist. His book is very, very intriguing, very enlightening, and I must say it even helped me out when my son was born. So, and he's now 4 years old. So, if it helped me during that being a new father, a new parent, and dealing with the struggles, trust me, the book by Brother Nero is something for you. So, it is up to you on what you want to look into. It comes down to the denomination that you want to get into. And outside of that, okay. You don't need Facebook to operate Facebook Messenger. You just activate your messenger. That's it. But yeah, if you want to email me, feel free. You just gotta let me know when you've sent an email, so I know what your email is. Because if it's something I don't recognize, because I do get messages from, well, let's just say cons, so to speak. I believe they're more related to spam than anything. Things I don't need or have a feeling any desire to get onto. So, but yeah, that's what I recommend. Those three books to you. They will enlighten you on a lot of factors, Gabriel. But yeah, feel free to email me. Just let me know that it's you. Okay. Let me just share something with you real fast. Let me get out of this. Oop, wrong one. Get out of there. Hit up the profile, Gabriel, that has this symbol. That will be me. That's my personal sigil that was created by my brother Brian Snelling out of Louisiana. So, all right. With that said, I'm going to sign off, and I'll expect your message. Okay. I have the next 2 days off, Gabriel. So before I have to return to work on Saturday. So I work the mornings from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I don't have my phone on me during that time. Okay. So anytime after that is good. All right. So with that said, I think this is the just about the second longest video I've done. Almost 2 hours, and I think the longest was 2 hours and 30 minutes, give or take. All right. But like I said, Gabriel, when you hit me up, just just say, it's me, Gabriel Fisher, okay, from YouTube. I'll know exactly who you are. All right, have a good one, and until next time, I want to thank everybody for jumping on here with me. Those who will come on after this fact, welcome. All right, hope it's been enlightening, hope it's been educational, and even thought provocative, and giving you a new outlook. Have a good one.